Tonight, a second healthcare worker has been diagnosed with the Ebola virus.
And what's worse, government health officials say that she was given permission by the Centers for Disease Control to fly from Ohio to Dallas the day before she started showing symptoms.
San Diego 6's John Carroll live now at the San Diego International Airport with details on that and a promising device made here in San Diego that's now part of the fight against Ebola. John.
Well, Netta and Jim, first to the second nurse who tested positive from Dallas following that astonishing revelation tonight from Frontier Airlines that she may have been symptomatic on one of their planes, and the news from the CDC that they granted her permission to fly. There are pretty disturbing questions tonight as to how all of this could have happened. This is video of 29-year-old nurse Amber Vinson arriving earlier Wednesday evening at Emory University Hospital in Atlanta. You can see her walking in an all-yellow protective suit, accompanied by another person in a white protective suit. Vinson treated Thomas Eric Duncan in Dallas and then contracted Ebola. Despite that, the day before she started showing symptoms, Vinson was on a Frontier Airlines flight from Cleveland to Dallas. 132 people were on the flight, and now each one of them will be interviewed and monitored.
We have a mechanism to rapidly separate the virus and then selectively capture it.
That's Athlon Medical CEO Jim Joyce holding his company's promising product, a hemopurifier. It's currently being used on a compassionate use basis on a Ugandan doctor being treated at a hospital in Frankfurt, Germany. Joyce can't talk about the doctor's condition, but he's more than happy to talk about the hemopurifier and how it does its job in two ways.
Create a mechanism that can rapidly target viruses before they infect cells and organs, and at the same time help deal with the immune suppression that these viruses trigger.
San Diego has emerged as the world leader in coming up with ways to potentially treat Ebola. The experimental drug ZMapp comes from here, and Joyce says one of the benefits of the hemopurifier is how it can help drugs like ZMapp be more effective.
What's going to be important in a condition like Ebola is to have a mechanism that as a device can combine to improve the potential benefit of those drugs without adding additional drug toxicity.
And it's more than just Ebola. Joyce says the hemopurifier is now being used to treat sepsis,
which is a overwhelming blood infection that is a leading cause of mortality in wounded warfighters and a significant cause of death in the ICU here in the United States.
On this day, as word spread of the Dallas nurse who flew, there was concern here at Lindbergh Field.
They shouldn't be flying, and we should be free to. So if everyone's taking care of their situation, then we'll be safe.
As the hospital in Frankfurt will decide when to release details about the doctor's condition, including any outcome there. It's news that not only Athlon Medical here is anxious to receive, but potentially thousands of Ebola patients around the world. We're live tonight at San Diego International Airport. John Carroll, San Diego 6 News.
John, thank you, sir. And tonight, the CEO of Frontier Airlines, David Siegel, has sent an open letter to his employees about the Ebola-infected nurse who flew on one of their planes and the timeline of events.
The most alarming part of that letter here, Frontier was notified by the CDC that the passenger may have been symptomatic earlier than initially suspected, including the possibility of possessing symptoms while on board the flight. That flight being from Cleveland to Dallas on October 13th, which was Monday.
The letter also notes that the same passenger first flew on the airline on October 10th from Dallas to Cleveland, but was presumably not symptomatic at that time. As for the flight of the 13th, Frontier has proactively placed 6 crew members, 2 pilots, 4 flight attendants on paid leave for 21 days. Siegel says this is out of an abundance of caution, despite the CDC telling the airline the crew was safe to fly. Siegel says the aircraft is also being sterilized beyond requirements of the CDC and will be returned to service in a few days.